Ukraine continues to defend its independence, and there is some news for today. Before we begin, please don't forget to like this video, write some comments and subscribe our channel to show your support for the Ukrainian people. Institute for the Study of War note that criminal Putin ordered to his pawn Shoigu to stop the Ukrainian counteroffensive by early October and hold all initial defensive positions to create the illusion that the Ukrainian counteroffensive has not achieved any tactical or operational effect, despite significant Western support. At the same time, on the Bakhmut direction, in the days and weeks following the liberation of Andriivka and Klishchiivka, the Ukrainian soldiers continued to storm Russian positions in the direction of the railroad. As a result of the successful actions, the front line in almost all direction was moved to the railroad, which is actually in the gray zone now. The Russian occupiers is not allowed to approach, but it's difficult to gain a foothold. Bakhmut itself may turn into a trap for the Russian enemy if they will hold on to it as long as they can. There is no point in storming Bakhmut head-on. The Ukrainian Armored Forces will not do it. Bakhmut is in a lowland, and nearby are high grounds, and the Ukrainian artillery will simply shoot Russians down on these high grounds. Sooner or later, the Ukrainian Armored Forces will surround the Russian occupiers in Bakhmut, and Russians will either leave the city, making a so-called gesture of goodwill, or they will be trapped. Winter is coming, and fighting in winter is not a problem for both sides, for the Ukrainian Armored Forces and for Russian occupiers. It's an unpleasant thing, but it doesn't matter much. Currently, all major combat operations are being conducted by infantry, without using of any equipment. This is due to the high saturation of artillery systems on the front line, as well as portable anti-tank weapons. And this is true for both sides. Armored vehicles are not enough to create a gap in the Russian enemy's lines, to create a powerful breakthrough as in the classical doctrine, but it's enough to deter any attempt by the Russian enemy of either side to make a breakthrough using armored vehicles. In addition, there is a high level of saturation with anti-personnel and anti-tank mines. These anti-tank mines are a big problem for armored vehicles, and a new feature that has been seen anywhere before is the large number of FPV kamikaze drones on both sides, which can hit almost any vehicle. After describing the general realities of current situation, we gradually come to the conclusion that something will have to change. The conclusion is that the Ukrainian Armored Forces will need additional weapon systems and capabilities that can still change the balance they have today. Because if you look at the situation from the point of view of human resources, if you compare the Ukrainian potential with the Russian potential, the Russians have much more human resources. That is why cannot continue to fight soldier against soldier. This will not bring to desired results. The Ukrainian Armored Forces need to address the issue of increasing the number of large artillery pieces on the battlefield, and they need longer range weapon systems to hit the Russian occupiers' command posts and logistics depots. Most of them are beyond 85 kilometers, which is the maximum range for the Ukrainian current guided multiply launch rocket systems. The Russians are simply placing command posts and other facilities beyond these distances, so that the Ukrainian army have nothing to reach them. And the same situation with Russian aircraft at airfields. Fighting Russian aircraft using air defense systems is very costly and ineffective. The offensive in the south of Ukraine will continue as long as the Ukrainian army have the resources. In parallel with this, the armed forces of Ukraine are conducting operations to deoccupy Bakhmut. The next step is to cut off all supply routes to Bakhmut. Strikes at the Crimean bridge will also continue. The question is not whether the Ukrainian army will or will not strike. They do it regularly, so they will bring it to an end. It's just a matter of time. It is difficult to predict the timing of the end of the war, as it is influenced by many factors, and even with regard to Ukrainian current offensive, no one in the general staff of Ukraine can say with certainty how long it will last. This is all interesting news for today for you. Please do not stand aside, support Ukraine. Like this video, write some comments and subscribe this channel. Glory to Ukraine, glory to heroes.